Hello everyone, it's Varus, and in this video I'm going to give you a full update on the tropics, severe weather, and more in this video. Everything you gotta know, the Atlantic becoming active, severe weather also a little active right now, and more in this video. So yeah, let's get right into it. So right now, taking a look at the alerts, much more populated than yesterday's map. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in the south central and central US, and heat advisories line the eastern seaboard up all the way from areas of northern New Jersey down towards areas of the Florida coastline and Florida panhandle. We also have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings and red flag warnings over here in the Pacific Northwest and some other dense fog areas. Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings over here. And I'll take a look at that and show you guys what's going on there in a bit, as well as a couple other special weather statements and fire issuances. So please stay safe. Some flood warnings and watches as well. Um, Severe warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. So yeah, so pretty active out there. Please keep it safe. And yeah, now real quick, I am going to talk about the severe weather threat today. 2% tornado, 30% hatched wind threat, and a 30% hatched hail threat as well. So overall, very active wind and hail day. I have radar Omega pulled up and gonna take a look over here at some of the storms. I just want to show you guys how active it is out there. Hopefully this pen will work. What's the best color to use? Black works. But we do have lots of some heavy storms, especially over here towards Minneapolis and areas of southern Minnesota. Some sustaining a very heavy hail core as it treks eastward. Some other individual cells, a couple supercells, but no real big tornado threats. Meanwhile, down here towards Iowa and Missouri, you have more of a MCS kind of, more of a, what do you call it? More of a straight line gust wind threat heading eastward, and you can see that right here. That's kind of a gust front where it's just storms spreading east and dropping down cold, heavy, windy air. So overall, this one's more of a damaging wind threat, whereas when you go more north, you see more of a hail threat up here. But overall, just very active and some severe storms over here in Kansas as well. So just wanted to show you guys how it looks over there as it continues to stay active over here. Now, taking a look at the next few outlooks, day 2, a marginal risk and slight risk up for the Midwest. Tornado threat is there, but mainly just a wind threat and a hail threat as well. And lastly, day 3, see if anything changes here, but for now, just a real marginal risk, most likely wind and hail for the eastern seaboard stretching into the Midwest. Now getting into the tropics, and the tropics has been a very, very, very hot topic. Let's start out with the Atlantic. Just gonna first briefly talk over here, or you know what? Let's start out with the eastern, or no, we'll start out with the Atlantic. Sorry about that. So we'll start out with the Atlantic, and we have an area of interest disturbance right here, right over Puerto Rico. 0% in the next 48 hours, 60% in the next 7 days. So some slower development, but it is gonna trek westward, and now lots of models have it into the Gulf. Many solutions going along the seaboard has faded, but most have it into the Gulf. Still very uncertain, so we'll have to take a look at that. Let's really focus on the Eastern Pacific though. Tropical storm Carlotta, 45-mile-per-hour max sustained storm, likely going to strengthen into a hurricane as it continues westward before turning slightly west-northwest northwestward. But overall, main threat not really affecting any land except some smaller islands over here. So please be careful if you're over here. And yeah, there's your forecast track line right there. So that's Tropical Storm Carlotta. Disturbance 2 behind has a 10% in the next 48 hours, 80% in the next 7 days. This one could really become strong, maybe even a major hurricane. I know that's kind of early to talk about, but I've seen ensembles and it likes it becoming pretty strong right behind Carlotta. And then Disturbance 1, 20%, 48 hours to 20%, 7 days. Likely gonna just meander, maybe even fizzle out as it doesn't have much support. Now taking a look at Tropical Storm Carlotta, just wanted to quickly see how it looks on IR. You have the low perfectly, you can easily tell where it is, centered right around there, healthy outflow out behind it, and a slight moist bubble ahead of it. So overall, it just looks very nice. Some good convection popping off near the center. Overall, it just looks like a good, classic, healthy tropical storm. And that's overall how it looks on IR. Now we'll really talk about the Atlantic. Again, there's your 60%. And taking a look at how it looks overall, I remember last video, or no, remember, I did say last video was very, very unorganized. Absolutely no convection. Dry air was everywhere, sinking air. But now we got some good, really nice and juicy convection popping off right along the islands of Puerto Rico, Northern Antilles, Virgin Islands, and quite north of that over there, and even some clouds getting into the Bahamas, like areas of the Bahamas. So overall, just it's still very messy. It's still you can't see a consolidated low, but you do see some much more convection, and definitely looking better than it was the other day. Now, I'm only going to show ensembles for this little system. The Eastern Pacific, a little more predictable, but this has had so much wavering. I mean, you have solutions getting into the um, kind of like coming up and then riding along the eastern seaboard, quite a bit of out offshore, and then going out to sea. You have a couple models that bring it closer, kind of, and then you have a whole bunch that really just keep it weak, get it into the Gulf, and strengthen it into tropical storm, and have some landfall in Florida, mainly. So overall, this is the European ensembles has really become uncertain. Honestly, it was showing mainly a threat going out to sea, but now more showing the Gulf, and that's what the GFS has been showing as well. So overall, trying to lean more towards the GFS. We'll see much more agreement as we get closer, but right now we do have a lot of uncertainty given the steering current, strength, what's going to happen to the system, etc. We can take a look at the GEFS ensembles as well, and you see a lot less members. Now, the Euro ensembles I think has around 51 or so members. GFS only has 21, okay? Or I think Euro has 55 or so. I know somewhere in the 50s, but GFS only has 21. So overall, you're going to see less ensembles. But main point is you only have only a few taking it into the seaboard and then out to sea. Lots of them bring it into the Gulf. Some have a tropical storm, some have a hurricane, and some have it even stronger than that. So overall, oh, really just hurricane and tropical storm and tropical depression. So you have complete different statuses. You have different tracks. Overall, main point, it's uncertain, but we're leaning less towards a solution over here in the seaboard, but more of a solution in the Gulf. The thing is, even though we know it's going into the Gulf, we don't know what it's going to do. I mean, GFS had this weird thing where it comes, it loop-de-loops, stalls over Florida, and then kind of goes into the seaboard. Or that's kind of what the Euro had. GFS had something similar, except it kind of meandered in the Gulf. Overall, we're really thinking it will get into the Gulf, but we don't know what's going to happen after that. It's still a very, very, very big question mark, and that's something we're going to have to figure out in the coming days. So there's your weather forecast. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.